Hello my dears and welcome back to my corner of the internet. Today I've got another book talk video to share with you guys, as well as some shout outs. We'll be saving the shout outs till the end as always. For now, let's just jump into the book. And today we're going to be talking about Girl in Snow by Dania Kafka. I picked this book up the other day at Walmart just because I saw it there. I liked the blues in the cover. The blurb on the back sounded interesting. So I just grabbed it. Dania is a young writer. This is her first book, her debut novel, and I really enjoyed it. Well, before we talk about the contents of the story, let me just say that Dania's writing is absolutely breathtaking. To me, that was my favorite part of the book, was watching the way that she would describe something, the words that she would use. And as a writer, so many times I'd read something and be like, oh, why hadn't I thought of that? Why haven't I worded something like that? Because it's just so beautiful. She's an absolute wordsmith, and I can't wait to see what she comes out with next. So, on to the plot of the story. So this takes place in Colorado, I believe, in like a smaller-ish town. And one night, a young girl is murdered. Her name is Lucinda Hayes, and her body is found at a playground, I think by the school. So her body's found in the playground on like the merry-go-round or the carousel or whatever it's called, piece of equipment in the playground. It had been snowing, so hence the name of the book. There's blood in the snow, and she's discovered there. So that's sort of the setup for the beginning. Now, what it kind of morphs into, this story, is it's definitely a mystery, the whodunit. What happened to this girl and why? So that's at the heart of the story. But really, there's three characters, and it's kind of like a character study, in a way, of these three people and how their lives kind of fit together and their relation to Lucinda. So there's Cameron. He is a young, strange boy who knew Lucinda, but not really. They weren't friends by any stretch of the imagination, but there were instances when she was kind to him, and he was just really taken with her, to the point that it went to some uncomfortable extremes. He was in love with her from afar, but he would also kind of stalk her, and like he would go to her house and he would stand outside and watch her through the window. Sorry guys, my dog just knocked into the tripod. Okay. So he would go to her house, stand outside the window and watch her. And throughout the entirety of the novel, we're kind of given the feeling that maybe this kid had something to do with it. Because you can tell that there's some mental illnesses there with him. His father, throughout the whole book, we know that something bad happened with his father. And now his father's gone, but it's not until later that we find out what happened with his father. And he kind of worries, and then we kind of worry that maybe, he's just not a good person, and because of what his father did, maybe it's something, that he's inherited, something sinister, something evil. So that's Cameron. My dog. Let me see if I can get her in. Trixie. Hi, baby. Okay. So that's Cameron. The next character that the story focuses on is Jade. Jade is, I believe, around the same age as Cameron. Maybe a little older, I'm not sure. But Jade's also kind of an outsider, but in different ways. Jade, she lives in a home that has a lot of conflict. Her and her mother are sort of constantly at war with each other. She's got a sister. There's one of the things I liked in the books there are little sort of blurbs that look like screenplays that Jade writes, and it's called Things I Would Have Said If I Were a Jerk, or something like that. Jerk's not the word she uses, but I don't want to say it in case I get demonetized here. But anyway, it's really clever. I liked Jade a lot. As time goes on, she sort of develops a bit of a relationship with Cameron. There's something about him that sort of draws her to him. And yeah, so that's Jade. And then the final and third character that is really important in this book is a detective. His name is Russ Fletcher. And as we learn about a bit about his story, we learn that he was partners with Cameron's father. So Cameron's father was also a police officer, and Detective Fletcher and he were partners. And there was some complicated there was a complicated relationship there as well. And but Detective Fletcher, he really cared for Cameron's father. And when Cameron's father left town, he asked Detective Fletcher to please look after his son. So as we're beginning to think that maybe Cameron had something to do with this girl's murder, Detective Fletcher is also thinking it as well. And so he kind of makes it his mission to keep other people from coming to that conclusion as well. You know, he's thinking, if Cameron did it, I promised his father I was going to take care of him. I'm going to take care of him, and I'm going to sort of try to put the move the scent on the trail to somebody else. So yeah, that's the main gist of it. I'm going to talk a little bit now about what happens towards the end. So this is your spoiler warning, everyone. If you do not want to know what happens in the end of this book, skip ahead now. Just fast forward and get to the shout outs. I don't want to ruin it for anyone. So, but if you would like to know, just keep listening. Okay. They're gone now. So what happens is the tension really begins to build, and Cameron seems to be becoming more and more unhinged as time goes by. And one of the things that Cameron always loved to do was draw pictures. He loved art, he loved drawing, and his mom sort of finds some really unsettling portraits that he drew of Lucinda, one of which included a picture of her dead on the carousel that night. And so now his mom, like, she's freaking out a bit because she's thinking, like, and she approaches him and she says, Cameron, you have to tell me what happened that night. So piece by piece, and one of the things with Cameron is that when he does his stalking, he sometimes goes to a place that he refers to as the Tangled, and he honestly can't remember what happens when he's in it. So he knows that he was there the night that she got murdered. He saw her that night, and he had followed her. She had come out of her bedroom, and she started to walk away. And in Cameron's mind, he knew, like in his heart, he knew that she knew that he was always watching. And in his, kind of head, he thought that she must not have minded it. So he follows her, and he sees her go to the playground and meet with one of the neighborhood fathers, like someone obviously very much older than Lucinda, whose children she used to babysit. And, she starts kissing him, and so Cameron realizes that she's been having an affair with this man. And from there, they sort of start to argue, and Cameron can't quite make out what they're saying at first, but Lucinda says something, and that causes the father to kind of yell, like, oh, you wouldn't dare, or something like that. And then he sort of lashes out, and she falls and hits her head and dies. And the man, he gets down on his knees, and he's, trying to rouse her, wake her up, and he can't. He realizes that she's dead, and he leaves and goes back to his home. And so Cameron's able to tell the police. They're able to arrest the proper person, and it ends with, you know, nicely tidied up at the end with knowing what's going on. Now, of course, there are tons of other characters, tons of other things going on throughout this book. Even if you've gotten to this part of it and it sounds interesting, definitely give it a read. There's so much more going on. I'd be here for an hour trying to tell you all of it, but Danya is a extremely talented writer. For the prose alone, like me telling you about the story is nothing compared to listening to this woman tell the story, because she's just so talented and she's so young. I think I read on her Wikipedia or somewhere online that she's like 24 or 25 years old. Like, I can only imagine even how much her craft and talent will grow as she gets older. That's so exciting. Can't wait. Cannot wait. She will definitely be high on my radar from here on out to check out anything else that she puts out. So that's always fun. I love discovering a new author that I just love, you know what I mean? So now let's get on to the shout outs. Got them written down here in my YouTube notebook. I feel like everything is weird today in this video. I feel like everything's tipping over, toppling, but we're just gonna go with it. So my shout outs for today, I've got 3 amazing women whose channels I'm sure you will love. The first is this British YouTuber. Her channel name is Nothing Too Crazy. I absolutely love her channel. She does, you know, beauty related videos. So if you love that, you'll love her. She does some really fun, creative looks. I love her personality. So I found myself laughing a lot when I'm watching her videos. She's very funny. So definitely check her out. Number 2 is this woman that I've recently found, I think within the past like 2-3 weeks-ish. Her name is Belinda Soto, and I'm in love with her channel. She does all kinds of hauls, and that's great and that's fun. But what I really love are the DIYs that she does. She makes these gorgeous, sort of rustic, very charming home decor DIY. She does like placemats and like salt and pepper shakers and flower arrangements and all kinds of things, and I just absolutely love watching her create. So definitely go and check her out as well. And keeping in mind with sort of that crafty DIY stuff is a woman whose channel's name is Colorful Mind 1, I think. She does so many, she does hauls and things like that, but she does some crafty stuff. And one of the things she's been doing lately, I am obsessed with. She makes these notebooks by like combining little notebooks, and then she like covers them in glitter foam. I'm describing this terribly. You have to go and check out her channel. And they look so gorgeous, and every time I watch her do it, I'm like, can I do that? Like, is that a thing that I could do? I'm not very crafty with like things like that, but every time I watch you make those notebooks, I'm like, I gotta try to figure it out. So thank you so much for watching, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this book talk video. It's Friday. I hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you guys on Monday. Bye.